Hello everybody, this is Kenuda, playing some more Tyranny, and we are headed to the Disfavored camp. So I spent a little bit of time speaking with Verse, but that was all I did, really. I figured I'd do that on the side just because not as much of that pertains to the story and it's more personal stuff. I'm wondering if there is a time limit before the edict happens anyway, or if I specifically have to proclaim Kairos' edict to the Archon. Take what you can carry but leave the cart, otherwise we seize you and your wares. Hail, Fatebinder. Camp's up on ahead. Don't mind us, just clearing out the rabble. I still don't understand what I've done to offend. I respect that these are now disfavored lands, and I'm happy to give the Legion a proper toll, but she's going on about trading rights. What nonsense is that? I'm not allowed to trade one thing for another? It's not like I'm selling weapons to angry peasants or anything of the sort. The Overlord regulates all trade. If you lack the proper permits, your goods are forfeit. A trade permit? Well, how was I mean, to whom would I speak for such a thing? Not us, and not our problem. Maybe march your butt to Bastard City and plead your case before Tunon, but we'll lighten your burden and relieve you of your wares first. That should make the long trek a bit more bearable. Anything to be argued before Tunon may be argued before me. What's there to discuss? We should kill this mongrel and... If the Fatebinder wishes to weigh in on the matter, courtesy demands we listen. This is a disfavored matter, but I know the agents of the court do so love to throw their judgments around. Well, you could rob me now and have my supplies today, or you can leave me alive and have fermented honey all year long. I even know a few family recipes for painkillers and healing droughts. Certainly any army will need those. Curious, I was just hearing about a supply. What a coincidence, your family recipe for wound paste smells just like the Scarlet Fury's own concoction. Where do you steal this? I don't know what you're getting at. Slow down. I'll tell you everything. Just please don't hurt me. I found most everything out in the forest of the valley. I'd keep my head low when I heard the sounds of combat, then I'd take a look and grab whatever wasn't claimed by the first victors. So then you stole from the disfavored dead. How else did you get your hands on that iron? You would come here and sell us our own armaments? If anything has an owner, I will return it. But this iron would have turned to rust if left in the mud of the battlefield. The disfavored are few in number, is that not right? You need a man like me to gather up supplies that would otherwise go to waste. Some of these are nice. May trade your wares freely, but lie again and I'll have you killed. The disfavored will tolerate your presence, but you will pay them handsomely for such charity. I'm tempted to do that. We will? The disfavored soldier clears her throat with a cough before repeating herself in a more upbeat manner. We will. It sickens me to make exceptions for this vulture, but if you'll supply the disfavored without profit, perhaps this indiscretion is for the best. It's not like our larders are overflowing. A work slave to scrounge provisions would be an asset. Thank you for interceding on my behalf. I know my life will now depend on showing the disfavored due gratitude for suffering my presence. If I must grovel a bit to earn my daily grain, so be it. You have anything to say, Verse? No. Okay. And he's got nothing more to say, I assume. Slow down a moment. I know we're both eager to watch the Archons bicker over tactics like a pair of magpies, but I need to ask you something first. Okay, sure. The Voices of Nerat told me that you've come as a mediator. Considering the source, well, I can't help but feel I'm only hearing half the story. So let's have it out. What's so special about you? Did the Voices of Nerat ask you to spy on me? Well, are you even surprised? He's the Archon of Secrets. Knowing in advance is his business, so is snatching up any advantage over Graven Ashe. Those two compete like a couple of new recruits for a spot around the fire. It's nothing nefarious. The Voices is just curious why you're here. If he wanted to know more, you wouldn't be able to suss it out that easily. He would have sent one of his scarier peons in my stead. I feel like she deserves to know. I feel like my own personal honor is that I feel like all the soldiers deserve to know that they're about to die if they don't hurry this shit up. I'm here to deliver an edict from Kairos. That makes a crazy kind of sense. Considering how long the siege has taxed the armies, I can understand why Kairos would send you with an edict to speed things along. Have you read it? Do you know what it says? The Archons must claim Ascension Hall, which is the traditional throne room of the Queens of Apex, by Kairos' Day of Swords, or all will perish, the 26th of every month. It is a day of holiday and rest for all within the Overlords. Each day is the last day of its span. Kairos' Day of Swords, therefore, is the 26th day of the span of swords. One more thing for the Archons to fight over. Well, thanks for cluing me in. If Kairos sends any lightning our way, just tell me when to duck. Why so suspicious? It's just a feeling I got. When the Archons are together, the air gets as taut as a bowstring. I can't help but think that no amount of compromise will get them seeing eye to eye. So why invite a mediator from Tunon's court? It doesn't add up. Why do you think the Archons are at odds? I've been with the Scarlet Chorus since the early days of the Conquest, so I can say it's been building for a few years now. There's an energy about those two, like a pair of storms moving to collide. I heard tell that Graven Ashe and the Voices of Nerat shared some bad blood in the Northern Empire, but I don't know any of the particulars. By my authority, the Archons will fall in line. That sounds like exactly the attitude to set this campaign in the right direction. I don't envy you the task of getting them to cooperate, which sounds about as easy as teaching a tornado to heal. At least you sound like you know what you're doing. What else has the Voices of Nerat told you? Only that I could find you in Edgering Ruins. Truthfully, I could have picked you out of a crowd. You're the only one of us who hasn't spent the last few months bathing in the stink of the Mittani River. I really ought to be meeting with the Archons. The war tent is just past the center of camp. One last thing. Be careful around these Disfavored types. They take their work seriously, and most have suffered too many blows to the head. Okay. Who do we have here? Step closer and present yourself. Well, look at you. Our gatecrasher from the court is still in one piece. The Gates of Judgment is the name given to the mountain pass separating the Tiers from the Northern Empire. In 428, Kairos' armies began the conquest of the Tiers by smashing through the Gates of Judgment, and as a young Fatebinder tasked with seeing war, you were part of this first glorious assault. Having joined with the Disfavored phalanx, you fought along the mountain slopes, proving your worth alongside the ironclad soldiers. Though you were not considered a member of the Insular Legion, those who fought with you fondly consider you one of the Gatecrashers, a veteran that can boast having seen the war from day one. Graven Ashe protects. That he does. The warrior nods in approval, then taps twice on the gate to signal your arrival. Be well, Fatebinder. Glory to Kairos. This. Two Archons are currently meeting inside Graven Ashe's tent at the north end of camp. Okay. Who be you? Hail to you, guardian of the law. If you have a few excess rings weighing you down, best unburden yourself before battle. You know that if the Disfavored suffer a merchant in their camp, that must be a man selling only the finest provisions and armaments. Take a look, and see if something interests you. Does it ever make you uneasy, representing the South in an occupier's camp? It did, once, but that was before I got the measure of your patron Archon. Tunon speaks with fairness and wisdom. Unlike many of my countrymen, I was able to make this changing of the guard as comfortable as possible. A little treachery can be profitable, merchant. Kairos is the right and proper authority of the realm, my lady. There's no treachery in that. Hard work and good suppliers. When Tunon's men came to my village, all the merchants were given different lists of what they were or weren't permitted to trade. Kairos' wisdom, my record must have been a good one, because I was given the right to trade in all manner of goods. Most importantly, arms. Not a lot of merchants can legally sell weapons. It was like that even before Kairos. Alright, let me see your wares. Who be you? Barrack. Alright. Let's just head straight for the center then. Which I'm assuming is over here. A meager portion of game simmers in the large copper pot. Fragrant spices attempt to mask the potent smell of whatever creature they've decided to cook. Hello, Horde. That would be Graven Ashe's tent.
What do we have here?
Hidden objects. You have discovered a hidden object. Many areas of Tyranny have hidden traps or chests. Is that it? Or what? What are you referring to? Ah, there it is. When discovered, these objects will highlight for all your party to see. Enable scouting mode by pressing I, Alt to make finding these hidden objects easier.
Moving cautiously.
That was Alt. Okay. Stealth. Scouting mode is used for both stealth and for finding hidden objects like traps and Oh, okay. Alright, cool. Character selection circles will start to fill with yellow when a hostile character is starting to detect them.
They won't see me coming.
Once the circle fills yellow, the character is suspicious and will move to investigate while the circle fills red. If the circle becomes fully red, your character will be discovered. Okay, good to know. Gained enough reputation to unlock an ability. With the Disfavored? I got enough from Chorus. That was about it. Let's see. I have... Oh, Verse leveled up too. Sweet. I want Verse to be a duelist. So let's see if I can't give you something passive. Verse taunts her foe, enraging them and forcing them to attack her. When an enemy strikes Verse, she gains a passive bonus to dodge and parry skill until combat ends. This effect stacks. Or she moves quickly, too quickly for enemies to engage her. Or Killing Spree. After a kill, Verse will strike twice with her attacks for a short time. Let's do Know Your Enemy 1. Oh, no. I have to take Skewer first. Do I? Or did it just show me Verse's talents without actually giving me a choice? Let's see. Let's go more for power. Let's add armor pin and increase thrust's power, or accuracy rather. Then character. Let's see. There's quickness or there's accuracy and armor deflection. I think let's do quickness. Yeah. And then search this. And take all. Wait, what was that item? Oh, just a topaz. Okay. Alright, let's go talk with the Archons. This is gonna be pleasant. So that's Nerat, that's Fifth Eye. And that's Iron Marshal.
That's 4 reports of avalanches in the mountains now. The Tearsmen can barely count past 9. They have neither the capacity nor the cause to close off the mountain passes. Either way, that leaves the 2nd and 4th cohort trapped outside the valley.
The Archon of War pounds his staff on the ground to punctuate his words. A large and imposing man to begin with, his profile is made larger still by his hulking suit of armor that hums with mystic energy.
Or it's the work of your perfidious Earthshakers. Only a fool would not suspect a traitorous Archon of poisoning the mind of his students with sedition. We would have killed the Earthshakers Guild for their master's treachery, but I'm sure you have some perfectly valid reason for allowing them to live as your pawns.
The Archon of Secrets passes a scepter between his hands as he speaks, twirling the rod in hypnotic circles. You hear the voices in your head. Well, hello there, Fatebinder. We'll be with you in just a moment. Emerald luminescence seeps from the seams of the Archon's ragged red robes. The glow is most noticeable where his neck ought to be. His mask seems to float and spin, never pivoting or bending naturally.
Hey, watch yourself. When these two get going, you don't want to get between them.
Huh. Do I get their attention now and start showing off my power in front of these very powerful people, or do I know my place? Let's know my place.
You run out of things to say when you resort to mocking my vassals. If we are to speak of treachery, why is it that my scouts see the Scarlet Chorus warriors defecting back to the Vendrian Guard? Your fearsome reputation has gone flaccid, for it seems you cannot control your soldiers, or perhaps you simply choose not to.
My lords, the Fatebinder has arrived. The disfavored commander raises her voice, trying with little success to speak over the Archons. Perhaps we could table this discussion and let our guests speak.
Speaking of strategic failures, who was it that insisted the valley would need only a token garrison? For some strange reason, we can't seem to recall which balding halfwit grossly underestimated the enemy. Thoughts?
You hear the voices in your head. Can you hear us, Fatebinder? Cough if we have your attention.
And I thought you had
Cough
left
audibly.
agents within these Tearsmen when they surrendered. Either you failed to see this coming, or you knew and let it happen. Incompetent or in cahoots, either way, this mess has your filthy stink all over it.
So he has a staff and a war maul. Or the... Oh no, the staff is a war maul. Okay.
We look forward to seeing you explain to Tunon why the Archon of War could not close the vice on this trivial little insurgency. When we are crowned the ruler of the Tears, we shall have this place renamed to Ashe's Folly in your honor.
Hear the voices in your head. Good, good. Now pay attention. You might miss something. Alright, let's keep listening.
If I could trust the information I get from you and your conscripted mouth breathers, perhaps I'd order my cohorts around a bit more aggressively. But last time I trusted your all-clear report, my troops failed to come home.
Oh, Ash, old boy. If you're going to have a little sob every time one of your nieces or nephews dies to the Tearsmen, perhaps we should have Siren sing you some calming lullabies to help you cope with your grief.
Take care that you don't learn too much, Fatebinder. An excess of knowledge, of curiosity even, can earn unwanted attention. Hold your tongue. I will not have you denigrate the honor of our fallen brethren. I'd be doing us all a favor if I cracked open that excuse for a head. They bicker like children, do they not? The fist-sized, grating tenor pierces the tension in the tent. I don't know what pitch the tenor is. Sorry. And all eyes land on the Crimson Spear. I meant only to say welcome. Welcome to our guest, the Fatebinder. The armored retainer bows with rushed inelegance, then rises to a salute. And not a moment too soon.
Did I give you permission to speak?
The Archon of War turns to you, his blue eyes wide with anger. The many portraits you've seen depict Graven Ashe with a stern, unamused countenance. He is even more taciturn in the flesh.
How wonderful you could join us, Quakebringer, executioner of care. You grace us with your presence. Here's hoping you have another edict for bringing childish Archons to heel.
My soldiers tell me you helped Commander Drotus on your way through Edring. You honor the court with your selfless cooperation, for that is the sort of camaraderie that Kairos demands of us all.
On the last of his words, the Archon of War glares at the Voices of Nerat, furrowing his brow as he utters the word camaraderie. I require no thanks for doing my sworn
Modesty is
duty.
your prerogative, but know that cooperation and goodwill have been rarities of late. You do your Lord Tunon a great honor by aiding your cousins in the Disfavored.
Oh, don't mind us while you trade your gushing praise. We're sure the Fatebinder has come because our company lacks in small talk.
I come bearing an edict of
It
Kairos.
seemed only yesterday you were proving your worth in battle, assisting my warriors in the siege of the Bastard City. Now Kairos has chosen you for a second time to proclaim an edict. Tell us, good Fatebinder, what sort of punishment does the Overlord have in store for the Oathbreakers?
It seems you need some encouragement to work together. Kairos' edict will end the lives of everyone in this valley unless Ascension Hall is claimed by Kairos' Day of Swords. The earth sways with each word you utter, the air thickening with warmth as you pronounce the tersely phrased commandment, its every syllable drafted by the hand of Kairos. With the edict proclaimed, your pulse quickens and the muscles in your legs, worn from a long trip down the mountains, feel renewed, the tired limbs now nearly buoyant with vigor. Oh shit.
The Overlord means to compel us into action. No doubt the avalanches in the mountains are part of this ultimatum. We must conquer the Oathbreakers or die in failure. There is no room for error, and no other way out of this valley alive. We'll need to advance across the Mittani. We lose everything if we stand still. And we move to backup Plan Green. The Earthshakers didn't make it over the mountain in time. So we do this the hard way. Over the walls instead of through.
So, you found your backbone at last! Oh, we were worried past humiliations would make you soft, timid. That was a record for you, right? The baker's dozen lost in one sortie. If you had waited for the chorus reinforcements, maybe we'd have eyes and ears on the matter.
You hear the voices in your head, watch him squirm. So many tears over replaceable, expendable, useless soldiers. I miss the old Archon of War. You'd never see blood echo in a blubbering mess over a few dead killers. He'd used the knuckle bones of his best disciples for jewelry and even made a breastplate out of his dead brother's rib cage, because that's how a real man deals with grief. Subterfuge.
I second the Fatebinder. Thought you had the memories of one of those Oathbreakers rattling about that bronze gourd of yours. Would Kairos' mighty spy master please enlighten this gathering of allies with some scrap of strategic insight?
The Archon of Secrets turns his head to the side until the face of his mask is turned around and a new facet of the mask presents itself as facing forward. When next the Archon speaks, the trembling voice of a younger man can be heard.
Our river was to be the bulwark, but with the Tidecasters slain, what hope remains? It's so cold in here. Help me, please.
The use of the term Our River suggests this is the voice of the late Mittani Janev, ranking member of the Vendrian Guard. The wealthy House Mittani owned much of the realm of Apex before the coming of Kairos, and the major river in the valley bears the Mittani name. The Archon turns his head far to the side, until the previous facet of his mask now looks forward.
Our sources tell us the Oathbreakers had some sort of magical trick in store. But this knowledge is tinged with fear, trepidation. If we make a move for the Mittani, we suspect the Oathbreakers will mount a counterattack that is equal parts valiant and futile.
I know that voice. Mittani Janev of the Vendrian Guard.
Good ear, young Fatebinder. When the Vendrian Guard surrendered, Mittani Janev had the audacity to demand an audience. Being the gracious Archon we are, we obliged. What the good captain knew, we now know.
No more sitting idle. I expect the Disfavored to be on
You
march
delivered
at
your
once.
edict. Do not pretend it gives you the right to give orders to an Archon.
My lord. Barrick? Though you know him only by name, Barrick is a command... Oh, that guy, yeah. Barrick and his band have been drilled on the Echo Call assault plan. The Crescent Runners should be briefing him as we speak regarding the latest enemy movements along the river. I will dispatch him at once. And I will ensure the chorus stands ready to march. If the Disfavored can take the river, the chorus has the manpower to secure the outer ring of the valley.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunon's Chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
I won't let you down, boss. She'll get through the campaign in one piece, as long as she doesn't do anything too stupid.
Suit yourself, Fatebinder. The more you ignore us... I like Graven Ashe's...
The fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear myself think. Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the Voices of Nerat is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunon favor him in the end.
I definitely don't like the idea of wasting good manpower on useless bullshit, but it is true that he has a massive horde, and he can reinforce himself easily with no problem. However, Graven Ashe's troops came into this valley with, I think they said, like 10,000 troops, and they've barely lost anything, ever. That is impressive, to say the least. Graven Ashe's few losses are as impressive as the Voices of Nerat's massive casualties. But I definitely prefer the honorable soldier who prefers battle tactics and has drilled his soldiers and trained them over the here's a knife, go stab your enemy approach.
Though the edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us. You've shown your worth in war, and your name has been known to the Legion since the very beginning of this long conquest. So I'd ask that you join us this one last time, to help us wrap up this last objective. If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
I'm short a few scouts, short a few soldiers, short a few everything. I'm sure my brethren would be grateful for the assistance of a skilled outsider. And what of the Scarlet Chorus? How will they be helping?
I ask myself that question often. While we take the river crossing, the Scarlet Chorus should be using their sizable presence to remove the Oathbreaker patrols lurking in the outer valley.
The Oathbreakers have maintained a sizable force outside the Citadel. We need the Chorus's manpower to scour the region, otherwise the Oathbreakers will attack at our heels once we cross the Mittani. I would be honored to help. The Iron Marshal salutes Graven Ashe, then turns to leave the tent. I will be at the training grounds, readying the soldiers. Find me there when you are ready. And, though I am loath to mention it, the Chorus can likely use your assistance. They certainly won't secure the outer valley on their own. Fifth Eye will be somewhere in that rat's nest they call a camp, due east. Seek him out if you must. Yeah, we'll help both. The Archon of War lets out a long sigh as he surveys the maps and models splayed about his desk. He glances over his shoulder, making brief eye contact with you, furrows his brow, and turns back to his contemplation. When I heard the Quakebringer was Tunon's Chosen, I had a sneaking suspicion it was to pass another execution. I've grown very tired of being right. May we speak a moment? I tire of all this endless prattle. I am the Archon of War, and the Overlord has decreed battle. If you wish to help, go speak with my soldiers. Return when you have done something useful. 'Kay. Now that you have delivered word of Kairos' edict to the armies, the time remaining until Kairos' Day of Swords appears next to the... Ah! Yes, 8 days. Wonderful. Oh, so that's an Earthshaker. Okay.
On it.
What do you mean you haven't heard from Commander Ironcore? It's been a full span since we sent word to him. Last we heard, Master Radix is said to keep an eye on the northeastern pass, that he'd be coming through there. For the mercy of Kairos, we don't have the soldiers to send hunting through the trees for our own damn Earthshakers. Fatebinder Myoko, am I right? I am Sevius, Commander and 3rd generation Disfavored. Specifically, I'm Sevius the Younger. Some folks can't keep track. The rank says Commander, but lately I'm just organizing patrols and trying to stay out of the way. You should talk to Iron Marshal if you've something official that needs discussing. What is it you need? I overheard you asking that Earthshaker where the reinforcements have gone. Is there a problem? I'm afraid so. Radix, the head of the Earthshakers, was supposed to arrive with a group of his most competent spellslingers to help break this stalemate. I don't know what's holding up their arrival, and that worries me. If you were at all inclined to lend a hand, we could use some arcane support on our side. I could lend a hand. Could you? I knew that Tunon's agent wouldn't fail us in a time of need. I'll mark the last known site of our Earthshaker reinforcements on your map. Good hunting, Fatebinder. Why do you think the siege is delayed for so long? It should have been over real quick and simple. The first cohort arrived in the valley and went right for the kill, but that was before we knew the Vendrian Guard had sages and that water witch on their side. A bigger problem is the Scarlet Chorus. They eagerly conscript the Vendrian Guard, but I have no proof of this, but it seems they do very little to keep a watchful eye on these drafted tiersmen. They are often sent out on patrol, and we suspect they use that opportunity to escape back to the Vendrian Guard. Every chorus conscript has a choice: life under Kairos or death under the army's boots. By all means, feel free to cut down those who choose the latter. We won't be offended. Just so we do not mistake each other, I know what I'm saying carries an implication of treachery. I'm not making a formal accusation before Tunon's agent. I'm just voicing my gut opinion on the matter. Come on, Binder. Seems like asking why beasts stink. The Disfavored are only too eager to deliver Kairos' peace to the Tiers, while the Scarlet Chorus bring only mayhem in their wake. You can tell me the Voices of Nerat has a plan, and I'll take your word for it, but the Chorus sure seems to blunder around, never moving with purpose as we do. I wonder if we've been fighting the same war, soldier. I've seen Ashe yank his precious soldiers away from more battles than he's won. If you want to call that progress, be my guest. Unless we find a way to work as one, I fear that the Scarlet Chorus will step in front of Graven Ashe's strategies at every turn. As far as I'm concerned, it seems like the Voices of Nerat is here to amuse himself, while the rest of us are here to do our job. Not much to tell. My father was Sevius the Elder. His father was Sevius the First of his name, lead drill master of Ashe's First Iron Guard, back when they were the Bronze Guard. The Iron Guard is the Disfavored High Command, an inner circle of commanders handpicked by Graven Ashe for lifelong service, tactical brilliance, or true dedication to the craft of personal combat. The Iron Guard act as Graven Ashe's chief advisors when the Archon is present, and when he is absent, they speak with his direct authority. Even the youngest Iron Guard has years of training in the finest iron the forge-bound mage-smiths can create, making these elite commanders nearly unrivaled on the field of battle. These senior leaders are expected to lead from the front of the phalanx. It is said that the Iron Guard fear only one thing: dying in their beds instead of in battle. I was born into the Legion, and with any hope I'll die in the Legion. The rest you will hopefully hear about when the storytellers immortalize me. Glad to see you have your own identity outside of the Legion. Calls stoically, but says nothing. Well, his day and age was a century ago. They didn't have Kairos' modern luxuries like iron. So back then, the great general's inner council was known as the Bronze Guard. Farewell. Who are you that just randomly appeared? Got no time to chitter. Okay, so those are the runners. Don't just coddle the impact, push back with your shield. Take the momentum. Iron Marshal Aranyos, field commander of the Disfavored, pounds her fists in the air as she calls out to the warriors on the training field. I said eyes on your opponent's waistline. If you spend more than a glance checking his footwork, you've lost. The Disfavored officer turns to you, adjusting her pale golden surcoat. Judging from her uniform, this is the Iron Marshal Aranyos. As she clears her throat. Need to stay on top of the troops or their skills will rust. It's for their own good, even if they don't believe it. How are your warriors reacting to the edict? Kairos' ultimatum has the camp on edge, some with dread, but most are rife with anticipation. We have a lot of brothers and sisters to avenge, and the warriors are eager to take out some aggression. I, for one, choose to see the edict as a blessing, for it forces the generals to act, and we're long overdue. It was mentioned you're short on warriors and need help. I have brigades amassing along Placid, Echo Call, and Little Tooth crossings. The Vendrian Guard may be able to hold one bridge, but they cannot hold against a concerted three-pronged attack. I have no right to give you orders, but we will all die to Kairos' edict should we fail, so I'm not about to let my pride blind me to the value of good help. This is the second major attack on the river, correct? What happened last time? Defeat in detail. We carved a bloody path up to the river, but at that point everyone who charged ahead was lost. We had no chorus backup. It was just a few disfavored squads. I can't tell you exactly how they were defeated, but we lost the whole assault team. Found bodies washing up in the river for days. It's not often the Tearsmen put up such a good fight. It certainly made us reevaluate the number we'll need to take this valley. Really? Are you sure our scouts didn't give you all sorts of details about the enemy and you just chose to disregard our warnings? We can pass out blame after the war. Only the Oathbreakers matter now. Quite right. Getting our emotions into the mix won't hasten this campaign. What's the value of taking the crossing? We can't just march from here to the Citadel with the Vendrian Guard manning the riverbanks. Fording troops and supplies through even the narrowest points of the river makes us vulnerable to attack, especially since our armor wasn't built for swimming. If we can take the river, we have a clear march to the Citadel, and Ascension Hall will be ours in no time. I will assist. Then our plan just might work. We are loath to work with those who do not share our training and our values, but we know that Tunon the Educator selects only the most capable minds for his court, and I trust you will honor us all on the field. Antio will be leading the charge at Echo Call Crossing. Assisting you will be Barrack of the Stone Shields. Before you ask, no, the Forge-bound weren't sloshed on Dappleseed when they fitted his armor. He survived the full force of the Edict of Storms, and this armor doesn't exactly come off. Tactically, it's quite brilliant, but otherwise, it's something of a curse. Barrack, come meet the Fatebinder. I would love to hear more about the Edict of Storms. The soldier that oh, Jesus Christ, that armor. The soldier that steps up to you better resembles an amalgamation of rusted blades and mismatched pieces of armor fused into a vaguely human shape. He reeks of sweat, feces, and whatever oil treatment keeps him flexible.
Fatebinder, the Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. That should be enough assurance for anyone.
An honor.
Likewise, good Binder.
The soldier heaves a heavy iron arm into a salute, his whole body clanging as he wraps his gauntlet against the twisted sheets of metal that form his breastplate.
Barrack, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
Just a minute, you two know each other.
No. Oh, that is to say, yes. I'm already as familiar with this ironclad halfwit as I care to be.
We don't have time to trade jabs today, Verse. After the siege, you can throw as many tantrums as you please. I suggest that we remain focused on the mission.
No offense to the mission, but seeing you looking like a garbage heap and reeking of a mass grave is more amusing by far. Did you forget how to don your armor, or did Graven Ashe leave you out in the rain?
Barrack sighs, a frustrated growl shaking his iron enclosure of his suit. I don't believe we've been acquainted.
It's challenging enough to experience battle from a courtroom, much less remember the faces of your cohorts. I wouldn't expect you to know me under these accursed blades of rust.
The Fatebinder will be joining us for the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might help. And more importantly, if my worries come true and the chorus tries to impede the mission, we will have an observer from the court on our side.
Better to work with the Honorable Binder than some chorus children.
I asked that Barrick accompany you there to arbitrate the cooperation between his company and the Scarlet Chorus. Barrick, you've been without a cohort since the last Battle of Stalwart. It's time we gave you a task more worthy than hauling wagons and leading training drills. Ashe has assigned you to the Fatebinder's service. You're to assume this task is ongoing until we find a more permanent spot for you. Which could very well mean the swiftly approaching end of this war, or when the Fatebinder dismisses you. Is that understood? Barrick regards the Iron Marshal in oppressive silence. That's an order, Barrick. He can be as stubborn as pulling a spire out of the earth, but he's a good soldier. I hope you don't mind the company. I'm honored to have a member of the Iron Legion at my side. Excellent. I look forward to your success in the field. So I have 3 party members now. You have talents to spend? Yes. Let's give you accuracy. Actually, you're a tank, aren't you? You're not about doing damage, you're about taking lots and lots of hits. Then yeah, let's give you bonus health. And you have a talent point. Issue a mocking invitation, challenging enemies to attack Barrick. Yes, let's have them focus on the giant guy in armor. That is a better plan. So all of his equipment is locked. He has an armor of 50... No. Where's his armor? An armor of 10, which is the highest I've ever seen so far. Seems pretty high when most of this stuff has like 1.5 armor.
Let's be
Alright,
off.
there's one last thing I want to check out here. And then we will leave this episode off. Okay, alright, we're going to leave this episode here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I know it's been largely talking and there hasn't been any combat at all this session, but hopefully next episode we'll see a good bit of combat. I think I'm going to go after the Earth Shakers first, and then check what the chorus want me to do. Alright, once again, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you've really enjoyed the commentary. I actually, and by commentary I mean the voice acting in the game, not my commentary. My commentary has been a little feeble, I know. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the voice acting. I know I've really enjoyed the talking, and as much as I don't like the attitude or the mindset of the Voices of Nerat, I love that voice. And just the shifting personalities and how he just sort of toys with everything. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.